Hi everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and we've got an exciting story to bring you straight off the bat. Lots of stuff we're going to get into today, but we're going to start off straight away, no messing about. We're going to talk about Nkunku. Now this is a player that I know a lot of you like. I like him a lot. We've been on about him for quite a while now. Had a fantastic season at Leipzig, and a very different season for him as well. I think traditionally, if you'd spoken to me about Nkunku maybe a year ago, I would have said, well, he's an attacking midfielder, that's what he is. But this season he's played as a false nine or a striker or whatever you want to call it quite a lot for Leipzig, scored loads of goals. I believe he can play pretty much anywhere in the attacking four positions, and that fluidity would be really important for United. I mean, straight away I would say that if you bought Nkunku to the club, he can play in the Bruno position, he can play where Sancho plays, Rashford plays and Ronaldo plays. And if we're thinking of keeping Ronaldo for another year, which I think we do want to, and we're concerned about Rashford's ability, and Sancho obviously would play, Bruno's ability, you've got a player there that can play in three different positions, whereas a specialist striker really has to compete with Ronaldo. So I would really like this deal. Welcome to Members Club, Brandon and Lewis. Well timed, right at the same time. Are your friends? But let's just put it up, because I think that this journalist is doing really well this summer. It's not somebody I was massively aware of before. At Pletygol on Twitter, especially around the Dutch and the German sources, I think he's doing really, really well. So he said there's good contact between Manchester United and Nkunku's management, and an official offer could arrive in Leipzig next week. United bosses rate him as very good, and Rangnick recommended him, but Leipzig still won't sell. There's also an acknowledgement that Chelsea are interested. Now, look, I'm going to mention it straight away. I was told by a very good source that 99% sure he'll stay at Leipzig. So it's like they giveth and they taketh away, and that's what I feel about this story. I'm very excited that we're interested, and it's a bit like Kevenbridge says there, we don't do deals like this. This is well sourced. So the interest in Nkunku and the opportunity of putting in a bid in next week, this is better. The story everyone was running this morning about a 60 million offer and this, that and the other, it felt speculative. It felt like there wasn't anything in it, but clearly there was, because you're now getting people who will know talking about it. Welcome to Members Club, Josh T. I suppose the problem with it is that yes, it looks like we're going to put an offer in. But also, yes, Leipzig are adamant they're not going to sell. Now, are you wandering into a Jadon Sancho situation there, where you might have a player that you want, you might have a player that wants to come to you, but the club do not want to sell? Now, this is the importance of Ralf Rangnick for me, because we weren't scouting Nkunku 4 or 5 months ago when Rangnick came in. Rangnick has told the club to scout him. Rangnick has advised us to go for him. And we do have very good relationships. Rangnick has very good relationships with Leipzig. But if they don't want to sell, they don't want to sell. So I think we're just going to ultimately have to wait and see what happens with it. But I like this player. I mean, we did a poll, didn't we, quite recently, whether you'd rather have Nkunku or Nunez. I personally would rather have Nkunku. I know he's 2 years older, but he can play in more positions, and I think in the modern game, specialist number 9s are very important when you think about the Lewandowskis and Harry Kanes of this world, and Ronaldo has become that, let's be honest, and Erling Haaland is a specialist number 9. But I also think fluidity in the front positions is really important, and I felt that we had that. For different reasons, it's a front three that did quite well under Ollie, Martial, Greenwood and Rashford. I really liked that fluidity, and I think it worked well. Unfortunately, all three of them, for different reasons, it's just not worked out. But it doesn't mean that original plan can't still be a plan with different players. Why do Conte and Tuchel get a larger budget than Ten Hag? Ten Hag needs more than 120 million to overturn this horrible squad, says Thomas. Well, we're going to talk about that in a bit, Thomas, so we'll come back to that. TJ and Ronaldo Goat, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. Carl's been a member for 14 months. Thank you, Carl. And Glenn is a legend. He's just gifted 5 United Stand memberships. Remember, if you're a member, you can gift them if you want to. You don't have to. But you never know, if you're watching a show and you're in the chat, you might just get gifted a membership. Sometimes we give them away as well. If you are a member, remember, if you're a member, that we do exclusive video content. You get your badges next to your name, and you can still currently vote on the community tab for what video you want next. Ten Hag revolution will begin soon. Timber, Torres, De Jong, Nkunku, no more overpriced English players. Sorry, says Abishak. I tell you what, I don't know what everybody else thinks, but what Abishak is saying there, I could well get on board with that. Timber, Torres, De Jong, and no, get rid of Torres. You've got no Abishak. Get it out. You've lured me in. No, seriously. Timber, De Jong, Nkunku, and Lema. That would be my ideal. 2 centre backs. You'd have to get rid of one of the ones that we've got. Why aren't we in for Gnabry? 1 year left on his contract. Looks like he'll leave in the summer. An alternative to Anthony if that doesn't happen, says Simon O'Connor. I like Gnabry. I do like Gnabry, and I think he's a bit hit and miss. I don't watch enough of the Bundesliga to know if he's inconsistent, but I do like Gnabry. There are deals that you can do, you're right. But anyway, on Nkunku, let's wait and see what happens with it. I do like Nkunku. I think a lot of people like Nkunku. But as things stand at the moment, it's very much this. Do you have an opinion on Milan Skriniar? Go back to about 5 years ago, Christian. I used to really like him. Somebody just asked about Greenwood. Look, in relation to Greenwood, we don't talk about it because he's under police investigation. And while he's under police investigation, there's absolutely no point in talking about it. And I think that's the cold, harsh answer that everybody knows at the moment. But look, in relation to Nkunku, let's just say United are interested. They may well put a bid in next week. Leipzig absolutely do not want to sell and are very confident that they will keep him next season. However, we've all been through many transfer windows. If Nkunku decides he wants to leave Leipzig, Leipzig may have a problem keeping Nkunku and they may open the door. But as of now, very confident they're going to keep Nkunku. But you can't... The thing I like about this update is that this particular journalist is the one who said that there's no chance, well, not no chance, that's not right. That said that it's very, very unlikely Leipzig don't want to sell. But then he's acknowledging that Man United may well put an offer in. So I like that sort of journalism because it's honest. It's like Leipzig don't want to sell under any circumstances, but United are looking to put a bid in. Most journalists will say, there's an offer going to go in and it can happen. You don't normally get the honesty from one journalist that Leipzig flatly do not want to sell, but Manchester United and Chelsea are looking to put a bid in. So, you sort of left with that uncertainty. So I do like that. Well done. Wilson, welcome to the Members Club. And some fans are quite unrealistic. Rebuild is a gradual overhaul. There are enough players leaving this summer and also potential sales like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, says Dan. The only thing I would say on that is, and I'll probably bring something in fact, I've got it here actually. I tweeted this earlier and I don't know what anyone else thinks. We've got a few updates to bring you, but I want to talk about Torres next. But this is my concern. That United, I listened to some of Murta's comments today from the fan forum or the dividends meeting or whatever it was, and I've listened to Ten Hag a few times this season, and it's almost like, certain brands have a certain tagline, or politicians have a certain answer. I've picked up this week, and I hope I'm wrong, but I've picked up this week from Murta and from Ten Hag that there is this line coming out from United that there's huge potential in this squad, and that that the hope is that Ten Hag can get the potential out of it. Now that concerns me on 2 levels. On the first level, it concerns me because does that mean we've not got a lot of money to spend? Because when I hear about there's so much potential in this squad, I didn't hear Newcastle's owners coming in and saying, there's so much potential in this team. They're like, get the checkbook out. I didn't hear Man City come in and go, oh, there's so much potential in this Man City team. No, they got the checkbook out. Chelsea got the checkbook out. Jurgen Klopp came into that Liverpool team and basically ripped it up. Didn't have a checkbook really, but sold players, brought players in. It worries me a little bit. It is a slight concern in a very positive time that Murta, Ten Hag and others keep talking about the untapped potential of this team. Ten Hag said it in 2 separate interviews. This team finished second a year ago. There's so much potential. Well, he's obviously not been watching this team, has he? And Murta's saying there's so much potential in this team. Honestly, do you think there is potential in this team? Vaughan, welcome to the Members Club. Hi, Mark. Do you think Lema is good enough for us? Mohit, Lema's better than Fred and McTominay. That's a start. But any player can flop. Do you think, White Owl says potential could mean keeping the Deadwood? Vandy says that is the line that every coach is told to repeat. It could be absolutely nothing, but it could also be a concern. We won't know until August. There's no point moaning about it now. We could sell 10 players and buy 5, in which case I would give a big thumbs up. We're not selling the whole team. But I will keep saying this. This football team hasn't got that much potential in it, in my opinion. Because when I look at this second place, or I hear United people talking about potential, where did the potential come from? The potential can only come from the season before last, under Ollie, who's now been sacked. And Ollie used to play compact, moments, counter-attacking football. This season, we've learnt the most about these players because Ollie at the start tried to do things differently and it went wrong. And Rangnick's tried to do things and they can't do it. This set of players are only good at being told to play in a very compact way and hit on the break. Well, that's not how Ten Hag plays. So when I hear Ten Hag talking about potential, I look at the way Ajax play and I say, well, how many of these players can play the Ajax way? And that's potential. So if he's looking at these players and go, well, he can play how I want to, great. I hope there is a lot of potential. But I don't actually agree with Murta and Ten Hag that there's a lot of potential in that squad. I think Sancho's potential, but we know that. Ronaldo is a top player. De Gea is a top player. Varane is a top player. But beyond those 4, where's the potential? Well, Luke Shaw can be better than what he is. He's had a bad season. Maguire can be better than what he is. I don't think he can play in the way that Ten Hag wants him to, but maybe. So that's 2. Rashford, of course, is the debatable one. I think there is a player there, but whether... Well, look, I don't know with him. Fred, look, he's done well under Rangnick. I still think he's a bench player, even if he does well. And then I'm like, well, I don't. Where is the rest of the potential then? Mata's going, Pogba's going, Cavani's going, Lingard's going, Matic is going, Wan-Bissaka's up for sale, Bay wants to go. There's not a lot of... and that's another argument as well. There's not a lot of potential in the team because a lot of it's going to go. So... yeah, actually, I've probably answered it myself, really, that there isn't a lot of potential in that team. It's just, it's about spinning a positive, isn't it? Vaughan, welcome to Members Club. Mark Owen, are you from Take That, Mark? Welcome to the Members Club. Simon Cooper and Rob, thank you very much for joining as well. Anyway, let's move on because we do want to give you the latest news. So I read something today that Manchester United are the front runners for Torres. This was coming from European reports. I just wanted to reiterate because it had gone a little bit quiet about Torres. I don't actually believe the story about Torres because I think we're so far advanced into trying to get Timber. In a sentence, Ten Hag wants Timber, United offered up Torres, and they came together. And that's basically what United have been doing. Ten Hag has some ideas of players that he wants, so he might walk in and say, I'd like Anthony, and United go, well, we've got Richarlison and Nkunku, Nunez. What do you think? And he might go, oh, actually, I'd like Nkunku. He wants he wants Timber. The club have gone, what do you think about Torres? Now, Ten Hag might go, ooh, I like Torres. Or he might go, I want Timber. As we understand it, it's Timber that he wants, and that's what they're trying to get in. And United are quite open to that because they want to give Ten Hag what he wants, and also Timber is cheaper. So Timber is the player that we're going to go for, but the story is that Torres is the player that United are most advanced with or leading the race for, but I don't know about that. Olu wants a membership. Clarkey says, prefer going for hidden gems than one has heard of. That makes the name at United, like Ronaldo, and not paying stupid prices because it's United, says Clarkey. Good to hear from you, Clarkey. Hope you're doing well. And Lidl on Quality says they are saying there is potential to make it easier to sell them maybe if clubs see the players they don't want to buy based off of performances. And that's a good point because, not that United would ever do it, but imagine if you said, we need to buy a whole new team, this lot are a load of shit. Hello, Everton, do you want to buy Wan-Bissaka? No, I'm just listening to your press conference. So, yeah, you've got to look at it, things like that. This was just a little one here as well. Manchester United want to sign one forward with preference for another to offset the exodus of attack-minded players who are out of contract next month. Interesting. Look, if you take every single story, we're buying 2 centre-backs, a right-back, 2 midfielders, 2 attackers and a goalkeeper. So we're signing 8 players. We're not. So we're going to sign 4 or 5. And a centre-back, a midfielder, an attacker, potentially another midfielder, maybe a right back. I don't see us buying 2 attackers. You could make grounds you can make grounds for us buying another attacker. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt about that. And I'm sure that won't be breaking news for you that Anthony Martial is available for transfer. I mean, Martial wants to leave himself. So we've got a big update coming for you in a minute as well. Long says Henderson 30 million, Wan-Bissaka 25 million, Martial 25 million, Jones 5 million, Bailly 5 million, Mata 5 million. That leaves us with 215 million. I don't think we'll get anything for Mata, mate. I agree with you on Henderson. I think Wan-Bissaka will go on loan. I'd like to think we'd get some money for him. Martial, I agree, 25 million. Jones, maybe 5. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think you're wrong. 30 for Hendo, 25 for Wan-Bissaka. That would give you 55 plus 25 for Martial takes it to 80. 5, 10. Yeah, I think you can get about 90 million in sales if you're lucky. But United have never been particularly good at selling, to be honest with you. But look, if you think about it, at the start of this season, we had, and I think we should have got rid of Lingard for this reason, but we had Ronaldo, Cavani, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood, and we obviously sold Dan James, so let's not include him. So we had six for 3 positions, which is what you need. Next season, we've got Ronaldo, Sancho, Rashford. We've got 3 for the front 6. Because obviously Greenwood's out, Cavani's gone, Martial's going to go. So you've got Ronaldo, Sancho, Rashford. All right, throw Elanga in there. 4. Sign a player like Nunez or Nkunku. 5. We probably do need to buy 2. This is why I would like to see us buy an Anthony and an Nkunku, or an Anthony and a or a Nunez or something like that. But I don't. We play with a front 3. We need 6 players to cover that. You need 2 for each position. I mean, this is why when you go to a World Cup, you go with 23 players, because you've got 2 for each position. So United do need 2 for every position. And Elanga is still very young. I mean, for me, Elanga shouldn't even be included. He should be sort of a 7th option that you can use. So, yeah, I think. I mean, people talk about Garnacho and Ahmad, but that's very dangerous, isn't it? To go into a season with Ronaldo, Rashford, Sancho, Elanga, Garnacho, and 1 strike and a newbie, because Ronaldo, Sancho, and the newbie are good, but then Rashford's been crap for a year, and then you've got 2 young players as well. So I think there is a case to have 2 players coming in, but I'd be very surprised if we did. Mark, will you shave your head if Ten Hag wins the Champions League at United? It's the sort of stupid thing that the modern influencer does. Therefore, I'm not modern, so I will not do it. I'll tell you what I would do. I wouldn't. I mean, my hair is my. I like my hair. There's a lot of bald people in my family, and my dad's bald. His brother's bald. His dad was bald, and I always thought I was going to be bald. I mean, I was checking the mirror at 13. Like, if I was convinced I was going to start losing my hair in my early 20s. So I'm quite, I also think, what if I shave it off and it doesn't come back? Like, what if my head goes, yes, you are meant to be bald, and now you've tried it, we're not going to give it back. So if Erik Ten Hag wins the Premier League, I will buy a bald cap and stick it on and do the show in it. So that's probably a fair middle ground, isn't it? I'll buy a bald cap and we can try that out. You don't need to shave your head. Yeah, maybe I'll try that. Anyway, look, this is the next thing I want to talk about, and I quite like this. So Rob Dawson, ESPN, he's been on the show. He says that although there is money to spend on new players this summer, Manchester United sources say an expenditure will be disciplined. And, we're starting to hear this. We're starting to hear this quite a little bit, aren't we? We're starting to hear this a little bit, and it does worry me a little bit. You could do it and be sponsored by Manscaped, says Clarkey. Yeah, this is starting to worry me a little bit, because we had it from the Mail this morning, around 80 million, and we're now hearing it from other sources. And you do start to worry, well, I do, when you start to hear the same thing in a different way from multiple sources. You think, somebody's telling them this. Who's telling them this? So, look, let's wait and see if anybody else comes out with it, because in fairness, there's always 2 sides to a story. And there are other outlets, The Telegraph for one, recently that comes to mind, that have said that our budget's 120 million. And we've heard that from a lot of people. So that doesn't necessarily mean our budget's going to be 80. It could still be 120. But we've got to be disciplined, and it could also mean that United have got a budget, but they've got to be disciplined. And what it could also mean is we've got a budget, but we're not spending £100 million on one player. Disciplined is actually potentially what we want. So I you know what I love? I love putting things into the show that I've not even thought through, because then sometimes I start on one tangent and completely come around. So actually, now we're talking it through, which is the great thing about a community. I'm starting to think now, all right, there is money there, but sources say expenditure will be disciplined. And I actually am now interpreting that in a positive way, because did we not want this? I want us to be disciplined. So if we've got £120 million to spend, I want us to get 3 players for that, because I want us to spend maybe 30 on a centre-back, maybe 40 on a midfielder, and then that gives us 50 for an attacker. Or you sell a few players. So maybe the disciplined bit is that, yeah, there is £120 million to spend there, but if you want to spend more, you've got to sell player. Disciplined. And if you've got £170 million to spend, don't spend 100 of it on one player. Be disciplined and get 4 or 5 players out of that. So you can spin that in a positive way, of course. Exactly. But that does take me to this. I mean, it's another of my tweets. You can follow me on @MarkGoldbridge, of course. But United can issue all the statements they like. But they will be judged on August the 31st, because we as fans, as I said this morning, will be able to very easily tell how much money Man United have spent. And I like what Murtaugh's doing. I love what Ten Hag is saying, and I think there is positivity. It's actually quite funny, isn't it? That have you heard that the Glazers are buying a Super League team, says Tom Best? No. United leaking their plans and budgets, which may give clubs an advantage over us. We've kept quiet and said it's a disciplined budget, as it should be, says Dan. Would it be smart to buy someone in their prime for CDM to then integrate Garner in slowly without having that pressure? I believe he is class, says Little. The thing about Garner that's quite interesting is I'm doing a watch-along on Sunday afternoon, actually, for the playoff final, mainly because it's Garner. I mean, the playoff final, if you're not aware of it, it's the league below the Premier League, the Championship. Fulham and Bournemouth have been promoted, so it's Huddersfield against Garner's Forest in the playoff final. They call it the biggest... I don't know what they call it. There's a name for it, really, because it's such a big thing to be in the Premier League. But it's a big game for Garner, because if Garner gets promoted, then he might go with Forest again for a season in the Premier League, which might be a big tick. Southampton are also monitoring it as well. But then there is also talk that maybe he's certainly old enough for Ten Hag to go, I might give him a chance. So... yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Garner. But big game for him on Sunday. Join us for the playoff on That's Football for that. But it is interesting with United at the moment, I believe, that you've got a manager that's obviously... I mean, Rangnick was popular despite the crap results because he was honest. Ten Hag hasn't got the crap results and has got a good CV and he's exciting. So he's massively popular with the fan base at the moment. Murtaugh is popular with the fan base at the moment because he's speaking the way we want him to speak, and that's a positive. Even the new CEO, Richard Arnold, isn't getting the bad publicity that Woodward got. He's almost been given a bit of a chance. I don't remember this before. It's like a bit like and the players, apart from one or two, the players are really not trusted. The Glazers are still the Glazers. So at United at the moment, you've sort of got this small collection of people in management who are sort of being given the benefit of the doubt. The Glazers and the players, it's like, well, we don't trust them. When it comes to the budget, we'll find out at the end of August, and we'll wait and see what happens with that. But I do think that United have got a massive opportunity here, and I think that they are really intent on demonstrating that this is a new United. I'll give you a worst case scenario and I'll give you a best case scenario. Worst case scenario, Murtaugh, Ten Hag, Arnold aren't the villain. The Glazers are. And they basically say you've got next to no money to spend. And that's why they're talking about being disciplined and the potential of this squad, because basically Ten Hag's got to try and work with what he's got with 1 or 2 signings. That would be the Glazers' fault because they're not giving up much money, which they will suffer for next season because there was already protests at the end of this season, and if this manager's not backed, it'll be very easy to see. So that's the Glazers' risk. I don't think they'll do that. Best case scenario, we will end up with a budget of around 175, including sales, We will bring 4 or 5 players in. We will get rid of 10, 11, 12 players. And we'll have the proper reset start that we need, which allows people like Murta and Ten Hag and Richard Arnold to actually start doing the job properly. And we might be somewhere in between that. I think that's probably most likely. But I hope we're going to be having the best case scenario. And it's sad to talk about money, but ultimately, Ollie got a lot of money. He had 150 million quid. Mourinho had a lot of money. I think he had about 150 million quid. Van Gaal had a lot of money as well. So we've got to give this man... I mean, really, he should get 200 million, Ten Hag, because of the mess. Remember what I said the other day? United are a jigsaw puzzle that you cannot build because it's got 4 different jigsaw puzzles mixed in together. That's the squad that Erik Ten Hag has. He's got players from the Van Gaal era, he's got players from the Jose era, and he's got players from the Ollie era. And some of those players were bad buys anyway, but they from... Ollie's style of football is nothing like Ten Hag. Mourinho's style of football is nothing like Ten Hag. And Van Gaal is probably more similar to the way that Ten Hag wants to play, but that's a long time ago now. I mean, how many players are actually left from the Van Gaal era? Rashford was promoted. I think Luke Shaw was bought then. Obviously, David De Gea's from the Sir Alex era. So yeah, look, he's got to be able to build his own things, but we will see what happens. But going back to Nkunku, look, I think, as I said, I think it's a brilliant update, and I'm going to put it back on the screen for you. I think it's a brilliant update on the Nkunku, because this is the same journalist who said that Leipzig don't want to sell. As I said, I was told 99% chance that he'll stay at Leipzig, but we're still getting the same story from the same journalist that United may well put a bid in. Leipzig can say no. They can say no. But when a player wants to go, a player wants to go. Look, if we end up getting Nkunku, and I'll run a poll now, because I just want to know where people are. Who would you rather have? Just to see where we are, Nkunku or Nunez. Considering the fact that we're very, very unlikely to get Nkunku, even if we go for him, and that Chelsea want him as well. Who would you rather have, Nkunku or Nunez? But I'll tell you this, and I'll say it again. If we want Nkunku, Rangnick can get him. Is Rangnick staying at this football club? Because I tell you what, all these journalists who say, well, you can't have Rangnick as an Austrian coach doing a consultancy role. It's 6 hours a week. He'll spend more time having a shit than he will doing the consultancy role. So you're going to deprive him of emptying his bowels now because he's the Australian national coach. Like, I just actually think around some parts of the media, they don't like Rangnick. And ex-players as well. I've heard some of them say, oh, it's ridiculous. He can't be the Austrian coach and be a consultant for Manchester United. So because he's the Austrian coach, he can't pick up a phone to Murta and say, yeah, I'll make some phone calls for you about this player. Of course you can. If we get Nkunku, it will be down to Rangnick. If we didn't have Rangnick, we've got no chance of getting Nkunku. So that could be the evidential chain of why he's important. I want to see Rangnick stay this summer because I want to see what transfer activity we do. We might come out of this summer with Timber, Anthony, De Jong, in which case Rangnick's irrelevant because they're all Ten Hag connections. But we might come out of this summer with Nkunku and Lema, in which case they're Rangnick connections. So let's wait and see. I certainly would give him this summer and see how it works. But I don't have a dream transfer window. I'd love to hear some of yours, but the transfer window, you can't get everything you want. I would like us to get Timber and Lema, which would cost about 50 million for the two. I would like to see us get De Jong for about 60, so that's 110 million. So I've got a centre-back, 2 midfielders, and I would like us to get Nkunku, which would be about 60. That's 170 million. So 4 signings. And if we sell enough, I would try and get a right back for about 20. And that would be it. So I'd go Timber, Lema, De Jong, Nkunku. I'd be well happy with that summer. Really happy. And if we've got anything left, I'd go for a right back as well. I mean, of course, if we went and sold a Rashford or somebody really shocking, then I would say let's go and get Anthony as well. But I think to buy another forward or buy another, or if you sold, I don't know, Lindelof, let's go and get Torres. But I don't think we are going to do that. If I'm absolutely honest. Talking of Rashford, I don't know whether you heard this. I just will mention this actually. I was listening to Gary Neville was going on about Rashford with Carragher, and he basically said something along the lines of Rashford's a victim of the disease in the dressing room. The toxicity in the dressing room has affected Rashford. And I thought, and what Carragher said, I think was a really good comeback. But I just had to stop a minute and go, oh, so nothing's really changed then, because I don't remember when Anthony Martial or Paul Pogba or David De Gea or Bruno Fernandes have been, singled out by some of our ex-players. I don't remember them giving the excuse of, oh, it's the toxicity in the dressing room, it's the disease in the club, that's why they're not playing very well. But lo and behold, because it's bloody, it's another English youth player, oh yeah, well, Rashford's a victim of the diseased dressing room. Well, I like Rashford. I think there's a good player there. But, like Martial last year, there wasn't any external factors as to why they're crap. They're crap. Like, they've literally... I saw Martial play against... Who was it? Who beat us in January behind closed doors? Not this January, the year before. Was it Sheffield United? We were top of the league at the time and we lost. Martial was absolutely abysmal. Like, he was lucky Old Trafford was empty. He was crap. He wasn't tracking back. He wasn't working hard. He was abysmal. And I like Martial. Same with Rashford this year. Especially when he came on at the Etihad for 20 minutes. He was abysmal. And he's been abysmal as well. So I don't care. Bruno's been abysmal this season. I don't care whether they're some of my favourite players or not. There's a duty to the shirt. So I disagree with Gary on that one. You can't just say, oh, Rashford or whoever has been bad this season because of the disease of the dressing room. And to be fair, Carragher came back and said, it's just because he's not good enough. That's it. It's just like, none of this diseased dressing room, none of this toxicity. He said, no, Rashford's just not good enough. That's it. He's not a Champions League player. He's not that good. Which I thought was the other extreme, to be honest. But the bluntness of the reply was quite good. And ultimately, I'd sit somewhere between. I don't want to give any of these players excuses that, oh, it's a toxic dressing room, so I'm playing crap. That's a weak mentality. Like, I've played in crap football teams. I told you this story before. When I was like 15, 16, I thought I was going to be a professional. I wasn't good enough. I didn't make it. But I played in some good teams. And my Sunday team was really good and we won trophies. My school team was really good. But on a Saturday, I just played for this local team. And we used to get beat 7 or 8-0 every game. We were shite. I was quite good. There was a couple of good players in it. But I played because I just wanted to play football. And I thought, actually, it does me good. I used to go and play like centre mid. And we used to get battered. But I enjoyed the fact that I knew I wasn't going to win. But I was playing in a team that wasn't very good against really good teams. And that was, you were busy. You were tackling. You were tracking back. And you also almost got into the mentality of, well, I'm playing for me. At the end of the game, we might lose 8-0, but what was my individual performance? Was I an 8 out of 10 or was I 4 out of 10? So I haven't got any time for these players who, oh, it's toxic in the dressing room, so I'm playing shit, because you can still put a good performance in for yourself. Downing tools and not doing it, that's a weak mentality that doesn't belong at Manchester United. As for Carragher saying that Rashford's not good enough and that's it, well, he has been good enough. He's shown that he's a top Premier League player. He's shown that he can do it in the Champions League. My concern with Rashford is, has he been figured out? Will he ever get that form back? They're the question marks. And that's why I always keep giving Rashford a chance, because, he's not always going to get a chance, but I do think if he wants to try it, and United and Ten Hag want to give him a try, let's give him a try. But it's 50-50. He either isn't good enough, or he is good enough, and we'll find out. If Nkunku doesn't happen, hear me out, Werner, says Duncan. I don't mind Werner. I don't mind Werner. We're going to be in the minority, Duncan. I don't mind Werner. I wanted Werner from Leipzig. I watch him play for Chelsea. He's not bloody useless. I wouldn't want him as my number 9. I think the pressure of being a striker is a problem, but I don't know that. I actually think Werner under Ten Hag would be a good fit, but I don't think we'll go for that deal. I don't. Mark, only United can give a player like Rashford multiple chances under different managers. Other top clubs would have binned him. United need to sell, says Ty. And forget Gary and his biased opinions. He has already outed himself as mates first and United second. Surprised they didn't appoint Ollie as Salford manager, says Julian. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, thanks everyone who's been tuning in. Thanks for all the new members. You can do that by clicking the join button. If you are a member, please don't forget to vote on the community tab for your exclusive video tomorrow. You can vote between Nkunku versus Neves, stats and statistics deep dive. You can vote for Erik Ten Hag's Ajax team of last season against United's team and look at the big differences on pass rates and all that sort of stuff. There's De Gea against that Valencia goalkeeper to compare how they play, and there's one other option as well. So make sure you vote, and we'll be doing that video for you to go up tomorrow. 78% of you went for Nkunku over 22% Nunez. Very interesting. Very interesting. I might be on Twitch. I'm not 100% sure. I've got something I've got to do first, but I might be on Twitch. But I am on Twitch tonight for a film watch-along. Goldbridge TV on Twitch tonight. I'm doing a film watch-along at 10:30, which is Hot Fuzz. So if you want a film watch-along, tune in for that. And I'm live. I'm on at 8 o'clock tonight as well. I know Thursday night's normally the forum, but the forums are gone now because it's transfer time. So all our shows will probably just be either pairs or individuals now. So, but I'm on at 8 o'clock tonight. So I'll see you on 8 o'clock tonight here. Please do subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. We're getting really close to 347,000. Remember I said this morning, let's see if we can hit it today. We're only a couple of hundred subscribers off. So please subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. Mohit says, most things started happening after the Greenwood case. It impacted whole dressing room, but Rashford personally as well, says Mohit. No. Look, I don't want to talk about the Greenwood case because it's an ongoing investigation, but that happened at the end of January, mate. There's a lot. Watford, Liverpool. Let's not pretend it was about that. We were toxic and all over the place way before that. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care, and I'll speak to you all in a bit. Really enjoyed that show. Fast-paced, interactive community. Let's